In the language of demon hunters, there are no demons. The only real demons are the fear and the hatred we hold against others who don't look like us. Hi, my name is Paul Cho. I'm a professor of Hebrew Bible at Wesley Theological Seminary in Washington, D.C. And today I wanted to touch on the theme of monsters in K-drama. And K-dramas are something that I've enjoyed since I was a young boy. So I hope this will prove fun and informative for all of you. Korean drama, or K-drama, features monsters of all shapes and sizes. In Gyeongseong Creature, we see Japanese biological experimentation transmogrify a Korean mother into a monster, a grotesque and ambiguous metaphor for the brutality of colonization and the redeeming love of motherhood. In the well-known Squid Games, the games themselves stand in for capitalist society and its dehumanizing potential in a crude allegorical representation of a Marxist critique of capitalism. Perhaps the most compelling among recent entries in the monster genre is Kingdom, especially its first season, where the zombie subgenre is bent and twisted to explore complex themes of power politics, class struggle, and sacrificial leadership in a beautifully realized Joseon setting. The work I'd like to explore in greater detail in this talk is K-pop demon hunters. Before I do so, I'd like to provide a brief introduction to monster theory. In his seminal essay, Monster Theory, 7 Theses, Jeffrey Cohen claims that you can understand cultures through the monsters they engender. His central insight is that the monster's body is pure culture, so that the monster reveals and signifies some cultural secret or problematic, such as the trauma of colonization, the hidden wound of racism, or the apocalyptic future of artificial intelligence. To give an example, in the aforementioned thriller Kingdom, the king of Joseon is the first person to become a zombie. His monstrous body represents the corruption brought on by the Haewonjo family's hunger for power. The king's body in turn infects the commoners, whose zombification reveals the suffering wrought throughout the country by political corruption in the capital. Now, K-pop Demon Hunters is not a traditional monster movie. It's more warm bodies than Train to Busan. Nevertheless, the monsters or demons of K-pop Demon Hunters reveal and signifies a culture that engendered the demons. What we find are demons that are less Korean and more American, less parochial and more global, ultimately revealing the Korean-American origin of the worldwide phenomenon. Let's look at 2 distinct metaphors for monstrosity in K-pop Demon Hunters. The first metaphor is embodied by Guima, the demon king, and is that of a ginormous mouth. It symbolizes insatiable appetite for human souls. And this is a transcultural trope. For example, ancient Canaanite religion depicts the god of death, Mot in Ugaritic, as a being with an unending appetite for the living. A Ugaritic text from the 2nd millennium BCE reads, "Do not get too close to divine Mot, the god of death. Do not let him take you like a lamb in his mouth, like a kid crushed in the chasm of his throat." We find similar depictions of the monstrous in the Christian Old Testament. Consider, for example, Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5, which reads, "Moreover, wealth is treacherous. The arrogant do not endure. They open their throats wide as Sheol, like death, Mavet in Hebrew. They never have enough. They gather all nations for themselves and collect all peoples as their own." To bring the discussion back to K-dramas, in the series Kingdom, monstrosity is repeatedly described as a devouring of human flesh and the drinking of human blood. In some, Guima's insatiable appetite in Demon Hunters reflects a transcultural trope for monstrosity and is readily recognizable as such. What is interesting and important is that the Huntrix, the titular all-female K-pop group who are also demon hunters, are too hungry, not necessarily for human souls, but but for the adoration of the fans. The shared motif of hunger may be read as a not so subtle critique of the celebrity culture as similar to, if not the same as, a kind of monstrosity. This line of argument gains traction with the observation that the Saja Boys, the boy band whose members are secretly demons, battle the Huntrix for the love and adoration of the fans. This means that the line between the good Huntrix, who use the love of fans to strengthen the Hunmun, and the evil Saja Boys, who feed the love or the souls of the fans to Kwima, is thin. That is, the difference between good and evil is marked by deviation more than by opposition in K-pop demon hunters. The second metaphor for monstrosity in K-pop demon hunters is the patterns that sometimes appear on the skin of demons. The dramatic secret of the film is that Rumi, the leader of the Huntrix, herself bears the demon patterns. Apparently, she is the daughter of a union between a demon hunter mother and a demon father. Now, what cultural problematic does the visual metaphor of demon patterns represent? There are at least two possibilities. First, the patterns are an obvious metaphor for race. Two observations bear this out. One, there's a visual aspect of the pattern, which appear on the skin. Two, in a scene right before the finale, Rumi says of herself, "I was a mistake from the very start." Putting this together with the catchphrase of the song Golden, "Like I'm born to be," we can understand Rumi as stating that she was born a mistake. And this is potentially an allusion to Trevor Noah's Born a Crime, which is a memoir about his being a son of an illegal interracial relationship between a white and a black South African parents. Noah was born as the result of a crime, as Rumi was born as a result of a mistake. According to this analysis, K-pop demon hunters declared race only skin deep, and thus racism, not race, as evil. In the language of demon hunters, there are no demons. The only real demons are the fear and the hatred we hold against others who don't look like us. The second possibility for what the demon patterns represent leans more heavily on cultural allusion. The catchphrase, "born to be," in the song Golden, is likely an allusion to Lady Gaga's Born This Way. In Golden, Rumi sings, "I'm done hiding, now I'm shining, like I'm born to be." The strength and power of the song Golden in part arises from the ambiguity of what Rumi means by "like I'm born to be." The song resonates with diverse individuals and groups precisely because of this ambiguity, because the underlying cultural problematic is open to interpretation. At the same time, if we take the reference to Lady Gaga's mega hit Born This Way seriously, then a more precise interpretation of Golden becomes possible. A task I happily leave up to you, the viewers. In conclusion, the universal appeal of K-pop demon hunters stems in part from the ambiguity of its monsters. It features real demons, the insatiable appetite for consumption, with the important note that both the devil, Magui in Korean, and the angelic Huntrix can be demonic. The film also features demons who are demons in appearance only, whatever the patterns represent. Finally, I hope you will have fun looking for the demons, the ghosts, and the monsters that K-dramas, movies, and songs engender as a way to learn and to critically analyze the cultures whence they arose.